yeah, highlight it, then right click and it will say join the meeting. Yeah, okay, now we are officially being recorded. So the minutes have been corrected. There's one member of the public here, Ray Heller. We're going to officially seat Harvey Beeman and Ron Nichols. So I guess I'm the one that's doing this.
Well,
That makes 3 of us. Don has called in and will be with us shortly.
okay.
I
don't mind waiting, but I think it would probably be appropriate for you to have somebody second that, and it would either be Art or Don.
Yeah. We can't have a one-person meeting here until you guys are seated.
Yeah.
Well, we've left messages with Art that says the meeting's not going to start till he gets here.
That may not have been a good idea.
Yeah. Maybe oh, here's Don. Good. Hi, Don. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I'm a bad host here.
Yeah.
Come on, joining. Oh, he's joining. God, this is like taking forever.
There he is.
Okay. Okay, there you are. Okay, I'm
Hey,
gonna
Don.
hang up. Okay, are you there? All right. Can you hear? I guess not.
He's got it.
Audio connecting. Are you? Okay, are you there?
Who are you talking to?
You.
There you are.
Can you see
Okay.
me?
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you.
Good.
All right.
I apologize. I've been on working on this computer all week and I haven't had any problem until I came up here tonight and it was messed up. I had to restart it. Sorry.
Well, I'm glad you're on because otherwise we have no quorum.
Okay, so we haven't started yet?
No, I did start the recording about a minute ago.
Okay.
In hopes of seating our 2 alternates. Art is not here. Ray has set up his computer as Art if he shows up because he said he wanted to come here. And I don't think he ought to be looking over my shoulder. So
No, let's.
computer in another room. So if he does come, he can be, have his own computer. Fran is recording. She doesn't have, you don't see her, but you can hear her. So I guess we officially, you need to second my motion to seat Harvey and Ron.
I do.
Okay, so we now have a quorum.
We could go over the corrections to the meeting minutes,
Yeah.
just for the record.
Don, you saw the last minutes from the March meeting that neither Fran nor I were at.
I did.
I'm sure that, is it Allison confused Harvey and you? So everything that's attributed to Harvey is actually you.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the case, Don, other than the first motion, which was to seat me in Penny's absence.
Yeah, that had to be me.
Right.
And when I looked at the solar farm, I just went right over that first 2 words. So that would be Danella.
So I'm definite that was you and not me.
Yes, it was.
And the first item, seconding the motion to accept the meeting minutes, I think that would have been you because I had not been at the January meeting.
Yes.
Well, in fact, down lower on motion 2, it said you abstained.
Right, so I wouldn't have made the motion.
Right.
Or seconded it, rather.
Right. So that should be me under 2A, motion 2, second
Correct.
Commissioner Danella.
Okay.
Yes.
And then,
I voted in favor. Then the next change would be under 4A, no, 4E, Commissioner Danella reported.
correct. And I think even motion 5 at the end. Motion to adjourn.
That I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I couldn't either. It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. It probably was me. I'm probably, because I'm ready to get out of there.
We said we were all ready to get out of there.
All right, we'll change that one too. 6, adjournment 6, motion 5, Commissioner Danella, motion. Yeah,
Okay, motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So
All in
moved.
favor?
Aye.
Wait a minute. Tell me who did it again?
A motion, I made a motion to accept the minutes as amended, and all in favor, I think everybody's in favor.
Yeah, and I seconded the motion.
Oh, yes, and Ron seconded.
Fran, for future reference, can you see us?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
you can tell who's talking.
Right, right.
Okay, does anybody have anything under, that they want to add under new business?
yeah, the thing I just want to briefly let the commission know about the reconstituted Patagonic Lake Authority. Just a second. So that would be item B.
Yeah, I just wanted people to know under A, the memo submitted to the IWA concerning the review area was I got an email from Elizabeth that it was all in the minutes. Our water report was all in the minutes. She was a little confused that she thought that we do the water report every year. No, there's only one, and it's 2018, because she wanted the 2019 water report. I said, there isn't one. So that was a little bit of a confusion, but now it's all settled. So I just, and everybody has that, that memo. And they're still worrying about how to get, it was taken under consideration. Art was asked to go, and I have to speak for him since he's not here. Gary asked him to come in to the town hall, which I guess was okay, and meet with the IWA and sort of say why we wanted what we wanted. And he added some things about how whatever size review area that they decide upon, it should be based on where the committee or the agency feels there's an effect. So he'd like to see it as kind of a loose definition. I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth. Gary seems to think that the zoning board has enough regulations and stipulations in the regulations that a larger review area is not needed. So there's a little bit of a point of discussion going on. I think that's where it sits right now.
So Penny, when we hit that on the agenda, if we're there now, I can speak to a couple of the IWA meetings that I sat in on.
Yep.
Through Zoom.
Yes, go ahead. You can add that, right? Because that's new business, so go ahead.
Okay, so the IWA discussed this text change to their regulations, the last 2 meetings, which were public meetings. So there was one July, and then the second one was just Monday of this week.
Yeah, I sat in on the first one.
Yeah, I did
It
see.
wasn't discussed much the first time.
Right. they did have, Gary had made a point that IWA had received the recommendations, but he was puzzled by how we were able to make those recommendations before it was even a public matter. So I entered in and indicated that we had seen it in the New London Day, and at that time, it was identified that it was going to a public meeting. Now, they were supposed to take this into the meeting in June, which was their original plan, and that got postponed. I don't know if it was because they didn't have enough time to post it to the public or whatever. So Gary was confused as to how we jumped the gun on it, so to speak, and I did clarify that. And so they subsequently discussed it that entire meeting, and then on Monday of this week, I would say 3/4 of the meeting was on this subject, and they did close the public meeting portion, and they went into deliberation.
Okay.
Was
And-
there anything during the public that seemed to show which way the committee or the agency was leaning, or not particularly?
I heard that probably three of the commissioners were leaning toward the recommendation of the Conservation Commission of the 300-foot.
Oh, okay.
Of course, there was one individual that pushed back against that and says, hey, 500, we've got records entered into the public records database that says 1,500 feet for contaminant.
One
may
member
not
wanted
be
it
enough.
larger.
What's that?
One member wanted it at 500 or more, and 3 wanted it at 300.
Yeah, that's just my listening to their questioning, and they actually had one proposal or a recommendation. It was seconded to ask Gary Goschel to go and find what the impact of 300-foot would be, and that did not carry. It was a 4-3 vote not to ask for his recommendation on a 300-foot upland review area.
Oh, I see. What impact in terms of how many people would be affected, or how many different projects?
You know, they started getting twisted around as to whether it is a setback from wetlands and watercourses to drainage areas to public water. So they were getting confused on terminology, and I think the ones that declined that thought that the 300-foot from aquifer would be essentially the whole town.
Well, it wouldn't be the whole town, but it would be a big chunk, certainly.
Yeah, but it's already been identified through Gary Goschel that 500-foot would be about 90% of the town.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, I can see why that's going to be a problem. Okay, well, we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out, because they're going to continue this in September.
That's correct.
Okay.
A comment. We probably ought to make sure that the minutes pick up in the right terms what we're talking about.
Well, we said we wanted their review area to expand.
Define review area, not for me, but for the minutes.
Well, whatever the review area is up to them. I don't want to get into their statutes, and that's the problem. Is they need to make that clear. We're not asking them to change that definition.
No, I guess what I'm talking about is the review area we're talking about is it would be the area which inland wetlands can regulate, and that's around a wetlands or a stream.
I believe
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
It's referred to as the upland review area.
That's the
Upland
term
review.
right there. That needs to go in the minutes.
yeah, officially the upland review area.
All I'm saying is you come back and read these minutes 5 years from now, you may or may not understand what we were talking about.
So Penny, you mentioned that Art was going to provide further information to Gary.
He did.
Oh, he already did. Okay.
Yeah, he went, I think, right after that meeting. And my understanding was he was asked to come in and, well, I don't want to use the word justify, but explain why we had chosen 300 feet. And he basically said that he thought that the setback area should be the area where drinking water is affected. And to me, that's a moving target. So I can't speak for him any more than that. I don't.
Yeah. No, it's just curious as to when that discussion took place, because public comment, which we would still be part of the public, I believe, was closed on Monday night.
Oh,
So
I think
so
it
they
was last
couldn't.
week. I think it was last week. I think it was
Okay,
last Friday or Thursday. But I'm not, to tell you the truth, he told me and I
Yeah.
could be wrong.
So they added probably another 20 items to the data package on Monday night of what had been collected over the last month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's a big
Yeah.
package.
Actually, to be fully communicating here, another member asked for the information, all of the water quality information we had, and I told them that our water report was only based on the data that was published by the town. So I gave her all the numbers for the salt, instead of just the graph. So she has the numbers, and I gave her the MBT, whatever it is, that gas.
MBD.
Yeah, that one. Because that was, and I went back through all of the brochures that they send out to you. So, and I said, talk to Brad Cargill if you want more numbers from what was published, because in the beginning they did it well by well, which was very revealing, and I put
Right.
that in the memo to the email to her. But in the last 4 years, because it's every 2 years that they do this, publish the stuff. Now it's just a min and a max and the max for every single well in town. So you don't to me, that's not very useful information.
Right. So they did add all of the available reports up through 2019
Yeah.
into their package.
Okay. So everybody's got the 2018 water report. Who wants it? I mean, if that package is open to the public.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's good, because we wanted the water report to be out to the public, and I'm not sure it actually got there. So now that helps. More people might read it. Okay, Don, you wanted B under new business.
Yeah, I just want to bring the commission up to date on Patagonia Lake Association, because it's another environmental organization in town concerned about conservation and environmental matters. And of course, as we all know, Patagonia Lake is part of the town's drinking water system. The association has been around for a number of years, but it sort of fell apart and became almost just like an ad hoc group of people that were trying to do some aquatic weed control through hydro raking. But we thought it should be more of an organization. So Wendy Richardson and I and a couple other people, we try to reconstitute the organization. We actually met the day after the last Conservation Commission meeting in March. We met on March 12th, reconstituted the board. I'm, for example, Wendy's president, I'm vice president, like I'm not doing enough. A couple other people joined. In the interim, we revised our bylaws. We increased the dues from $5 to $25 per household so we can get some money to work with. We had a couple more board meetings in June, on the 11th and 22nd of June. And then on July 15th, we had our annual meeting. We had a sort of socially remote meeting on the Island Campground Beach, which was kind of nice. It was really hot, but people were able to sit there socially distanced. We had our annual meeting. And one of the big things is, besides aquatic weed control through hydroraking, we'll look for herbicide use. It seems to be the only way to control milfoil and in particular the water shield and water lilies that are in a lot of the coves that form dense growths and mats over the water. And for that, for herbicide use, we're going to have to try to raise some money. We kicked around a lot of ideas. We also became a 501c3 organization through Wendy's, Wendy being a CPA. It was very handy there. So we're going to need grants. We recognize the fact we're probably not going to get any money out of the town for this, but there is a deep program that there's an invasive weed control fee that people pay when they register their boats now. That's going to be used for some of this stuff. And we might be able to get some money from the state if we can apply to that. So that's what's going on there. Just want to let you guys know that.
Yeah, Art wanted everybody to comment, I guess, on the fact that Gorton Pond is almost in the same situation. And he remembers 30 or 40 years ago, it's got to be at least 40 years ago, because I've lived here this long.
No, it was less than 40 because I had moved here when they did that, when they drew it down. Yeah.
And he wanted to see whether the commission wanted to hang on a second.
Where do you live, Pat?
Kids, they always call.
Sure.
Sorry.
Mine don't, but
He wanted to see whether the commission wanted to approach DEP to see if they would do it again. And I just said, to me, that's a lost cause. The DEP and the whole state is strapped, and they're not about to look into that kind of project.
we're talking millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Anyway. So on to old business.
Yes.
Looks like I'm up there too. Well,
Yeah.
certainly a lot has happened on the Waterford Solar petition since we last met. Save the River, Save the Hills, a group I'm involved with. We've engaged an attorney. We've upgraded our status as from an intervener to party, which gives us some legal rights as far as appeals of the decision, and there's some other legalisms involved with that by becoming a party now. Since March, there's been several rounds of questionings between the petitioner, us as the intervener then, and the town of Waterford. All the groups filed pre-filed called pre-filed testimony with the citing council, and we finally had our first public hearing. We had the honor of being the first remote public hearing the citing council conducted on July 14th. The petitioner presented their project, had their expert witnesses questioned by the council members. We had cross-examination done by the town of Waterford, which didn't really do much. but our attorney did a lot with that until that session was over. That evening on the July 14th was the public comment session. There were a number of people signed up for it, but a lot of them didn't show, and I don't know if they had problems getting on or they didn't understand what they were to do, but there were some good public comments made, and then that ended. And then the next session, remote session, was on August 4th, where we continued with the cross-examination of the petitioner by our attorney, as well as the town's expert witnesses, which were some town staff members, including Abby Pearsall, Maureen Fitzgerald, and the town fire marshal. And then we were to go to the Save the River, Save the Hills. We were supposed to be, first of all, questioned by our attorney, like a examination, then the cross-examination by the petitioner's attorney, and if the town had any questions. But by then the storm had really started jacking up, and people were getting blown off left and right, trying to get back on. So the commission decided, the siting commission decided to halt the procedures. They rescheduled the public hearing to resume on August 25th at 2 p.m. And again, we will start with Save the River, Save the Hills testimony and cross-examination. That'll finish the hearing part of the whole process. That date is also the close of the evidentiary record, as far as either petitioner or us or the town putting in more information regarding the project. However, public comments will be continued to be accepted by the council until September the 24th. The council will issue a draft decision and order on October the 8th. But there is something on top of that. There's some sort of executive order that's underway now in this COVID-19 time. There's a 90-day extension of deadlines for decisions per a governor's order. So that may extend the whole process off to November 23rd, although we don't know that for sure, but that's definitely on there. That's the last item on their revised schedule. So that's what's going on. If anybody wants to tune in on the 25th, you can go to the Connecticut Siting Council website and get the Zoom information, and you can listen in or watch the whole procedure if you're interested. So that's that, unless there are any questions.
Okay, well, thank you for staying with that.
That's on at 2 o'clock on the 25th.
Correct. Go to the Connecticut Siting Council, look for petition 1347A, and you can scroll down there and look for the August 25th hearing. It's like a one-page memo. I could actually probably email it to you, Ron, if you're interested. Why don't I do that?
Yeah.
It's got the Zoom link. You'll just have to type it in instead of clicking on it.
Okay.
You would send that to me as well, Don.
Sure, Harvey.
How about you give it to Fran? Could Fran send it to everybody?
Oh, I could send it to everybody. It doesn't make any difference. You know, why send it to Fran?
All right.
I'll just email it to
I'm just
everybody.
thinking, because Mark might be interested, other people that aren't here.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you? I don't think I can make it, but I don't know. I don't plan more than 2 weeks in advance, so who knows?
Well, you know, people from the Nine Acre Watershed Committee, rather, a couple of them came in. There, you know, some other people I knew listened in. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, is that it?
That's it for solar.
Okay, unless anybody else has any work on town trails, Art's not here, so I don't know that anything's been done on that. I can talk about the sustainability bikeway project very quickly because it's stalled. I had meetings with Mike McDowell that were going along great until February, and when I got back from vacation in early March, we were supposed to meet with the chief of police to get his take on how we could mark out the roadways for 2 bike paths and also improve some of the pedestrian crossings. I'm still confused when I walk through downtown, much less Flanders, where they have pedestrian crossways and where they don't. I'm sure there's some DOT reason why they're, it doesn't make logical sense. I did talk to Laura because the other thing that got suspended, oh, by the way, that's all suspended and there's money to be had through the sustainability program. They're practically throwing money at people, but without the sign off from the town, we can't go anywhere with it. And the police are busy with beach and, you know, problems at Rocky Neck and all of that. So Mike said he'd get back to me when he had time to deal with it, and I haven't heard from him. But I asked Laura if the students would be able or amenable to out of classroom projects, especially because it looks like the school is going to go to a hybrid system where the kids are in class half the time and online the other time. So especially her club kids and seniors. I know seniors love to be out of class. So they were going to do a pedestrian survey, and they did it quickly last September, and see if they would be willing to do that again and possibly follow up with adding to the stuff that's published through the town website on where is it safe to bike, where is it safe to hike in town. There is hiking trails. I think Art's been very good with getting that from on the website with Gary's help. But Laura is up to her neck right now, so she that's on hold as well. So I guess the upshot is we've got some plans, but they're all on hold. So that's it. If we can go to D for the POCD update, Art told me that he had met with Gary, gone through the open space plan and corrected some of the mistakes that were, or not mistakes, but changes from when the open space plan was listed for which parcels were available and how they were ranked. He wanted to change or did change with Gary's urging, the ranking so that any parcel that actually is on or contains an aquifer, the drinking water aquifer is part of the parcel, that gets a slightly higher ranking than the next down, which is adjacent to the aquifer. So that distinction was made, and I guess the first time around, they were ranked the same. To me, that's really splitting hairs, but because next to an aquifer is just about the same as being right there. But yeah, I know there were there's been some acquisitions made since that listing was made, so they need to be off the we would like to own list because we own them. And then there were some properties that he said he couldn't remember why they were put there to begin with, so he kind of had to take them off. And I think there were some added, but that was all between him and Gary, and I guess that's going to be all corrected, and the open space plan will all be put into the POCD in its entirety.
Did anybody on the committee get a shot at reviewing what the matrix looks like?
No, Art did that with Gary, and I didn't know a thing about it until he told me 2 days ago.
Ron, what are you referring to exactly?
Well, there are 2 things we ought to be looking at. One, there's the set of priorities. That's
The
a
rankings.
simple table that's supposed to be applied to all of the open space.
Okay, oh, that, okay.
There's the table of open space. And I would think this commission ought to be reviewing that, not just the chair.
Well, I can tell you that, the change that was made was just what I described, was separating out that distinction. Other than that, the ranking is exactly the same, to my knowledge. Now, Art is supposed to be here tonight to actually say that. I'm getting it secondhand.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because there was some discussion a while, but years ago, 2 years ago, about revisiting it
Mhm.
because things like seawater rise was going to change some of the priorities of shore property, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of other stuff.
Yes.
picked
I,
up.
I think that should be on the agenda for a September meeting where, with any luck, we will be meeting in person, socially distanced.
I don't think
And we
so.
can look at some maps and actually have a discussion.
Well, it'll be too late. When's POCD coming out?
Not till December or January.
Yeah, but I think they had a, well, it may have been gone by the wind now with everything else, but they did have I thought they were supposed to have a draft this fall.
Yeah, but
That might be
the
right.
earliest would be
Unless-
like September, October, isn't it?
And I've got something on my files over here, what the original plan was. Again, I don't know if they're adhering to that now or not.
Right. You're right, because I've got that too. Well,
Well, the best we can do is next meeting anyway.
right, yeah. And the
Unless we
thing
do a
is,
special meeting.
yeah, the other thing is that, the open space plan exists in and of itself. And that can be changed as needed, whether it's in the POCD or not. Obviously, changes would be a good idea to have in the POCD, but amendments can be made to the open space plan separate, on a separate track if necessary. But I think Don makes a good point. We should find out what the calendar for the POCD is, because I think everything has been in flux, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
get.
mean, it might even be on the town website, aren't they up there underneath planning? I'm not sure. I haven't looked in a long time, but
I haven't either. I don't know. I think it ought to be a discussion point for the next meeting anyway, just so maybe some of these questions can be cleared up and all of the commission members present, hopefully.
We don't need to make this a motion, do we?
No.
All right, so, well, I just don't want it to get dropped, that's all.
Well, we can if you'd like to then.
Let's see what happens. Let's not.
Okay. Discussion. I'm making a note to put it on the next meeting, but I'll leave it at that. Okay.
What was Penny, is the item that you have the POCD or the open space?
I think it should be the open space plan as it exists in the POCD update.
Okay,
How's that?
yep.
Okay, got that noted. Reports and communications, any other communications?
yeah, I thought I just mentioned two things really quickly again. Probably everybody got the Lyme Times either today or yesterday or maybe tomorrow. There was an article in there about a Connecticut Invasive Plant Working Group annual symposium, if anybody's interested. I guess assume it's going to be online. It's going to be held on October 7th, $50 if you register early. I just thought I'd mention that. Also, the second thing was I got an email from Megan Lally of Connecticut Deep. US EPA is going to have a special webcast called How's My Waterway on August 27th, which is only an hour. It's in the afternoon. How's My Waterway is a program the EPA sponsors where you can explore. It teaches you how to explore information available about drinking water, stream conditions, waterways are suitable for swimming, eating fish, supporting aquatic life, etc. If any of the waterways are being monitored, the location of monitoring stations, etc. So if anybody wants information on that, I mean, I could send, it's just a one pager on that too. I could send it out along with the link, the thing about the siting council hearing.
Yeah,
I
that
could
was,
send that out in case people are interested. Have an hour available on 27th of Thursday afternoon, and might be something since we're big on water. So
I like that idea, Don.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to sit in on that too, especially because the EPA slacked off their regulations on what constitutes a waterway. At least until the election might change things back, who knows?
well, the waterways we're talking about, I don't think are affected.
Okay.
A ditch in the Midwest or the West or an ephemeral stream in the West, that's whether that's waters of the United States or not. That was the big issue.
Okay. Okay, the agribusiness. Mark sent, and I should probably, where's my phone? He sent an email saying with his agribusiness report. And basically, the short version is that he and Tom Kilal have been working with the people at the Samuel Smith House in the community garden. They got several organizations to chip in some money, so they were able to plant a lot more this year. They've already started harvesting turnips and potatoes, and they're bringing the produce to the St. John's Meal Center, and where they hand food out every Thursday. He's hopeful, or they're closing in on getting access to a larger plot, which they'd like to expand for next year. He didn't indicate where this plot is, but hopefully next month, maybe he can expand on that. But that was the upshot of the agribusiness subcommittee's report. Chairman's report is absent. The ex officio report is absent. So if there's anything else to add.
We're going to try to do this again in September, I hope.
Well, either we will do the Zoom again, or to the comfort level of at least some members, I'm going to try to see if we can have an in-person meeting.
Could you plan on doing the Zoom even if it's out of the conference room?
Yeah, we could Zoom you in if that.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it because I'm not going to be back yet.
Okay. We can do a Zoom meeting for those who can't be present or don't want to be present. Some committees have already done that. And for those that I'm getting an impression that at least Art and Mark, maybe Laura, but Art and Mark particularly would rather meet in person. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Yeah, I do. What's the official town position on this? Are other commissions, committees meeting again
Yeah.
or not?
It seems to me that some commissions are meeting by Zoom. Some are and Fran, actually, you can pipe in because you know more than I do.
Some have been, one for the Brookside Farm Museum, they use the barn with the doors open. And East Lyme Parks and Rec is having a meeting in in the Olive Chandali room. And that's as far as I know about the ones I do.
I would be willing to meet if we were in a room the size of the regular town hall conference room and people all wear masks. Otherwise, I'm not coming.
Okay,
They do. They wear masks and they distance.
yeah, okay.
But I mean, I'm not going to go to conference room 1 and do it. It's too small.
I don't think that well, and unless things change, that's not available. So it's not going to be there. But I'd like to look into the possibility of these other venues. And we can always, I mean, I can do exactly the same and host this so that Ron can be zoomed in, and so can you, if you prefer.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, and from a COVID standpoint, I would prefer to Zoom as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
Hopefully Art shows up with enough time. I'm thinking half his problem, he doesn't know how to operate Zoom and he's scared of it.
No,
He can't even email, so
he doesn't. I have been on.
Fran, don't write that down.
If
I've been on the phone
recorded.
with him 6 and 7 times. The problem is that he doesn't know how to do it. I
Well,
should kill the recording here.
he can, you know, you can call people like to site council meetings, other Zoom meetings. People don't have the computer capability, or they don't have a microphone, or they don't have a camera. You can call in on a phone. That's why when you set up a meeting through Zoom, it gives you a phone number.
Hey,
Yeah,
Penny?
So there's no reason in the world why he couldn't have called in on a phone to
Yeah.
make this meeting. He just doesn't. He just won't see people.
yeah,
Penny,
yeah.
a suggestion, why don't we quote unquote end the meeting and then consider, this is more offline stuff.
Okay.
Well,
So
if
I'm
I
done,
end the
so you
meeting,
don't have to record it.
yeah, when I end the meeting, you guys are going away. It's going to shut it down.
What I'm talking about is I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Let's see.
all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Okay,
Okay.
now stop the recording.
Right.